G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for being here watching my content. As always, it is my pleasure and privilege to talk about the greatest sport in the world, rugby, and the greatest sporting event ever, the Rugby World Cup. Once again, Ireland has stepped up to the plate and to show the world that they are here to break the voodoo and get out of the quarterfinals for the first time ever in its history. And yeah, a huge performance from the Irish team. The Tongan team, in case you didn't know, was targeting this match going into the Rugby World Cup. They've been preparing for this match since the end of Super Rugby season, all the way through the trial matches. In fact, they've been preparing for this match, I think, in November test last year, that the coaches has been talked about, that this is the match they wanted to win. This is the match they wanted to just, to take away from the Rugby World Cup. Even if they lose all the other games, they just wanted to come out and really try to take out Ireland as the big ticket home for, big head home to put on the mantles, right? And honestly, going into this game, I was really thinking that Tonga might have something up their sleeves and to put some pressure on the Irish team. And sure enough, they did come out with a lot of big pressure up front in the scrummaging. Charles Pierce-Howe was running people, stepping people left and right. It was looking quite dangerous. And, they showed a lot of heart, a lot of determination. But eventually, the Irish team, too fit, too fast, and just a little bit too clinical for the entire 80 minutes to close out this game. 8 tries to 1. It was looking like at halftime, especially like at the beginning of the second half, that Tonga was trying to make a comeback. They just before halftime, they went an extra, 6 or 7 minutes, I think, just to score a try. Like that is tremendous amount of heart by the Tongans to get themselves on board, to keep the pressure applied. And they even got a yellow card out of that as well. Peter and Marnie get sent off for repeated penalties. And yeah, was really looking good coming out of the second half. Early pressure as well. And then, yeah, the fitness probably just not quite there. The depth of the Irish team, the bench comes on. And just too much, too powerful, and too strong for the Tongan team to finish off the game. The big news, obviously, this game, Jonathan Sexton, the greatest of all time ever in the history of Irish rugby, probably the greatest, one of the greatest rugby player ever in the world, if he can win the Rugby World Cup, I think. People always tell me that, Brian O'Driscoll, it's better than Johnny Sexton. Johnny Sexton runs his mouth, yada, yada, yada. I mean, come on, man. Like, 38 years of age, he's still, I think, not just probably one of the best number 10s in the world. I think he is the best number 10 in the world at 38 years of age. And he's, like, getting better. He's not even getting worse. He scored 2 tries last week, scored 1 try this week to beat Ronan O'Gara's record, highest scoring record in Ireland, which stood at 1,083. And he scored a try to beat that record and converted a try. And Johnny Sexton, it currently sits at 1,090 points for Ireland, and that's the highest point scorer in the history of Ireland. I mean, this guy is just, you can tell, going into this match, he's only scored 17 tries. And before last week's game against Romania, he only scored 15 tries for Ireland. And 3 tries in 2 weeks, considering he only scored 15 over the last, 10 years? 10, 15 years, he's only scored 15 tries. He was averaging literally 1 try a year to scoring 3 tries in 2 matches. I mean, yeah, that is a testament of how good this guy actually is. And that is a testament of his determination, hard work behind the scenes at 38 years of age to still be able to play at the top of the game, better than everybody else in the world still. It's just unbelievable what this guy can do. And in my books, when he beat New Zealand away, he was already the greatest ever. But a lot of you guys still think that Brian O'Driscoll is better. Johnny Sexton, to me, hands down, the greatest ever for Ireland. Probably the greatest ever if he can win the Rugby World Cup, just to finish the cherry on top of his career. So yeah, have a look at some of the interesting stats out of this game. The Tongan, like I said, was really good in scrummaging. Line-out was a bit lacking. Lost a few line-out. The more defense was not quite there as well. The one strategy that Tongan came into the game was to contest the breakdown, which was the correct thing to do. They really consisted very hard at the breakdown to try to slow the ball down against the Irish. But yeah, the overall polish of the Irish attack was just a little bit too much. Even with the slower ball that was available to the Irish team, they were still able to find gaps in the Tongan defense. Was eventually was just a little bit too much. The skill gap was just probably a bit too much between the two teams, and not 100% credit goes to Tonga for preparing the right strategy, preparing to upfront the attack at the breakdowns. But yeah, we're just the number one team in the world is just a little bit too much for the Tongans on this day. 156 run meters for Ireland, 260 for Tonga. 13 turnovers considered for Ireland. Like I said, the contest at the breakdown for the Tongans were very, very good. And it is definitely something any team needs to do to try to beat Ireland. They have identified that, but not quite able to follow that up with the rest of the gameplay. Tonga's only considered 11 turnovers themselves. 98 tackles for the Irish team, 12 missed tackles, world-class performance. Tongans, 158 tackles, made 33 missed tackles. Yeah, do all the hard work turning the ball over and just not able to make the tackle, not able to make the right, complete the tackles. It's a big, it's a bit of disappointment for the coaches, to say the least. Kicks in play. Ireland was managed the kicking game just enough to keep themselves in the game. There was, two 50-22s. Keenan kicked one, and then Mac Hansen kicked one as well. Just to managing the kicking game, finding that space quite well. Tonga 18 kicks, just enough. The goal kick for Johnny Sexton with 100%. Second half, what's his name? What's his name? Ross Byrne was Ross Burns. I think it's Ross Burns, right? Burn or Burns. Let's have a quick look. I think it's Burns or Burn. Let's just have a quick look. Ross Byrne, yes. And so Ross Byrne was got all his goals as well. So 100% goal kicking for both teams. Set piece were a little bit rusty for both teams. Way worse for Tongans. 5 line-out loss, only 4-1, so like less than 50%. That is a ridiculous amount of pressure from the Irish team to ruffle those areas. And finally, the scrummaging is probably the strong part for the Tongan team. It was really challenging the scrum against the Irish. There was a couple of 50-50 calls where I felt like Tongan should have won. When Barnes kind of went for Ireland's way, which I thought was a little bit unlucky. I thought the dominance for the Tongan scrum was truly a weapon to be reckoned with. Finally, the penalty count. Tongans once again conceded quite a few penalties, 16 against Tongans. Ireland was guilty of giving away way too much penalties as well under the pressure. Like I said, Peter O'Mahony was sent off just before the half time due to not just his own fault, but like repeated penalties in very short period of time under pressure. Close to their try line. So yeah, Barnsley was able to pull the trigger, but the Irish team was still able to manage quite a convincing win in the end. Let's go through the game and let's talk about some of the points that were scored. Believe it or not, Ireland actually came out with a lot of respect to Tonga. The first points were scored 6 minutes into the game with a penalty. And it's kind of got a bit of a boo, I guess, a jeer reaction from the fans, because everybody was kind of expecting that Ireland was going to go for the line out. Instead, showing a lot of respect, Ireland went for a 3-point attempt 6 minutes into the game. It looked like Johnny Sexton actually went over the clock, so like he kicked the ball as the clock was already hit 0, and apparently what was happening was the shot clock did not show up in the stadium, so Johnny Sexton couldn't see it. And also Barnsley was saying that he was not in charge of the shot clock, so it wasn't his call that Johnny Sexton went over time by a second. But it did look like on TV that Johnny Sexton missed the clock by like a second or so. But anyway, Barnsley didn't call it. Nobody else said that was an issue. Whoever was like doing the clock, I don't know, maybe the 7th referee that was supposed to be looking at this didn't do their job. But yeah, Ireland got this one through. But if there was no clock on the field, I don't really blame Johnny Sexton for mistiming that, because he doesn't know the time, he can't see the shot clock. He's just gonna take a guess. And and it wasn't an issue later on. So there was Johnny Sexton was able to kick all his goals well within the time limit. It's not like he tried to drag it all the way to the last second. He was able to do it well within the time limit. And from there going forward. So 3-0 to Ireland 6 minutes into the game. Mac Hansen did a quick line-out throw 10 minutes into the game and then kicked the ball down the field. Like a nice 50-meter kick. probably more than 50 meters, and the ball rolls into the 22, and Ireland gets a 50-22 out of this one, which was really, really well done. Ireland goes for a maul. Tonga actually defended really well from the maul, and then attacked the breakdown, and I managed to get the ball turnover and stifling that attack. So it was looking quite good, like quite effective in terms of the Tongan defense. At this point of the game, also the Tongan scrum was also showing a bit of a dominance, was already getting a short-on penalty against Ireland early in the match. 60 minutes into the game, Ireland gets penalized for obstruction. Tonga, Havili, this is what's his first name? This is David Havili's brother, essentially. He kicks the ball from like 40 meters out on a bit of angle. Really nice, sweet kick. 3 points apiece, 60 minutes into the game. And so 17 minutes into the game, actually, it looked like Ireland had scored a try. There was a little kick ball over the top by Conor Murray. The Irish, the Tongan fullback drops the ball. Mac Hansen scoops up the ball, passes it to Ty Byrne. Ty Byrne passes the ball to Andrew Porter, the fastest loose prop in the world. He was just gunning for the try line. It goes in, and then they reviewed it. Hansen actually knocked the ball, which was really close. The 20 minutes into the game, the Tongans was under a lot of pressure. A little bit of poor exit. The Ireland was able to get a line out pretty close in the Tongan 22. Basically, this ball was just a nice little play by Johnny Sexton. So the ball goes out to Sexton, who was like, pretty far out in the 12 channel almost. And then he throws a nice inside ball to Caelan Doris, who runs through a gap, and Doris links up with Ty Byrne, goes in for the first try for Ireland. 10 points to 3, 20 minutes into the game. There was a breakdown penalty right after this, literally like 3 minutes after this. Tonga opts for another 3 points. David Havili kicks this one, 10 points to 6. There was a penalty against Tonga for a charge down where it had actually made contact to the ball kicker. So Ireland goes for a line out, and then they just set up that perfectly structured maul and goes in. Like, the technique was too good. Got really close essentially, and then Caelan Doris ducks himself in for the try. 17 points to 6. 32 minutes into the game, Ireland once again was in the front foot. They were kind of like just camped outside the 22 a little bit. The ball goes just nice hands goes to the wing to Mac Hansen, and Mac Hansen just steps in field, and he just literally ran through like five defenders. Just wiggles through about 5 defenders on the Tongan side. This looked really bad for the Tongan defense, and goes in for the try. And then the commentator reminded everybody that Mac Hansen, and I would like to remind you as well, Mac Hansen is an Aussie playing in Ireland. He was dropped by the Brumbies, and only to find himself, touring Ireland for a bit of fun, and then picked up by the Irish local clubs. And now he's probably one of the best wingers in the world. And then if you look at what the catastrophic failures that Rugby Australia is currently doing, spending 4.8 million, right? It could have kept Hansen. Instead, you let him go. Now, Australian Rugby just spent $4.8 million to try to bring in Joseph Swali'i, someone whose only experience in professional rugby union was high school. Okay? 4.8 million to poach him from rugby league, and somebody needs to investigate how this sort of catastrophe keeps happening in Australian rugby, how Australian rugby failing in so many levels, letting talents go, and then having to overspend outrageous amounts to buying players that has literally no professional rugby union experience. Blows my mind. So someone please explain to me how this is like a business that is operated here in Australia. Okay. Anyway, that's a little bit of story about Mac Hansen. 24 points to 6. Just before half time, it's 37 minutes into the game as well. Johnny Sexton breaks the record. He was already equal in points to Ronan O'Gara at 83. There was a nice little switch. Ireland did a nice little switchboard. They were going for one side and quickly switched to the other side. And then the Connor Murray inside ball to Gary Ringrose, who runs through a little gap. And then he sees Johnny Sexton, offloads to him right under the post. He was happiest man in the world, 31 points to 6. Ireland lead. And then just before halftime, Tonga really wanted to get themselves on the board again. They just pound the Irish line. There was multiple penalties given out. Ireland was issued a warning. Peter Amani cynically seals over the ball at the breakdown, gets sent over with a yellow card. With a player in the bin, Tonga go for the scrum, and then more pressure. 8 phases later, got the advantage. I thought the fact that they didn't go for like a crossfield kick to Pierre Towel or something was a little bit interesting for me, but they just kept on building the pressure, and eventually the referee went back for the penalty. Tonga went for another scrum, and then the number 8 Fafita picks up the ball, just runs straight into the I guess it's a blind side, into the blind side. It's a pretty big blind side. Runs in for the first try for Tonga. Really well worked. 47 minutes in, 7 minutes of extra time in the first half to put that try through. 31 points to 13. Second half starts. Johnny Sexton's already off the field at halftime. He's done enough. I mean, they try to keep him on ice before the South African game. So it took about 10 minutes, almost 10 minutes. Is it 10 minutes? Yeah, just under 10 minutes for Tonga to finally break the stalemate. They had well, how did they? No, sorry. So yeah, immediately in the second half, actually, the Tongan gets a penalty right away, and instead of going for the lineouts, they went for the 3 points, which was a little bit surprising. So Tonga gets the first 3 points on the board, kicked the scoreboard up to 31 points to 16. 56 minutes into the game, right? The Irish gets a huge turnover at the breakdown. They get the penalty, exactly what we're looking for, trying to break the stalemate. They kick the ball out for the line out. They go for the more. Again, the ball just comes out. Nice little short crash ball to, who was it? James Lowe, who ran straight into like the night channel, and then just goes straight in from that nice little more setup for them. 38 points to 16. 63 minutes into the game, another penalty against Tonga. This time, Tonga's handling is starting to go off a little bit. Ireland kicks the ball out for a line out. Again, they set up for more. Another nice fake more that was, joining all the forwards. The ball comes out. Bandiaki just gets a nice little short ball from Byrne, and then just again able to find that perfect angle to wiggle himself through the defensive line, and then goes in for the 6th try for the Irish team. A few minutes later, 69th minutes in the game, Ireland once again piling on pressure in the Tongan team, in front of the Tongan try line. The ball was just literally the whole 4-pound was just crashing the ball. Eventually, the ball comes out to what's his name? To Casey, the halfback, and again, nice short ball to Bandiaki, and once again, he just managed to find himself in that tiny little gap between the 12 and 13 in that little channel there, wiggles himself through, and then right under the sticks for his second try. Suddenly the scoreboard is 52 points to 16 with about 10 minutes left in the game. Just before full time, Hugo Keenan managed to kick himself a 50-22, and the Ireland was actually really poor in this line out. They were not able to execute. The Tongan was able to turn the ball over. Not turn over, but not able to execute. The ball actually went out of bounds. It was a poor pass to James Lowe that he missed. So Tonga had a 5-meter line out, defensive line out to do, and the line out was overthrown. Yeah, and then it was overthrown, and then it was picked up by Rob Herring, just crashed over right in front of him for this 8th try to Ireland. 59 points to 16, the final score. Quite convincing win for the Irish team once again. And congratulations, Johnny Sexton. Really well done. Let me know if you think Johnny Sexton is the greatest of all time of Irish rugby or not. But I know a lot of people think that Brian O'Driscoll still is, and always will be the greatest of all time of Ireland rugby. But I really think that Johnny Sexton. And by the way, I watched a lot of Brian O'Driscoll games when I was a kid. Okay, in 2007 going into the Rugby World Cup. I'm pretty sure he was either the highest paid player in the world behind Johnny Wilkinson, or he was probably the highest player ahead of Johnny Wilkinson. And yeah, I know a lot about, I watched a lot of rugby games with Brian O'Driscoll, and Johnny Sexton is it's a lot better. Not gonna lie, Johnny Sexton is a lot better, and the game has developed so much from 20 years ago. Everybody's playing a lot better. The fact that Johnny Sexton is still like at the top of the food chain in a much more competitive environment says a lot more about Johnny Sexton than Brian O'Driscoll. That's my opinion. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Wallabies review. And yes, have a good one. And thanks for anyone who's my Patreons, and then saying thanks to people who donate money to support me. Do appreciate it. And yeah, have a good day, guys, and hope you enjoy the game. And see you guys tomorrow.